मैगी विवाद पर नेस्ले के ग्लोबल सीईओ प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हैं। सीधे रुक करते हैं इस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस का।
At the same time. So it's a request, please give the questions in writing and mentioning who it's coming from so that we can identify the newspaper or the media. We have with us on the table our senior team, and I will request Mr. Paul Bulcke, CEO of Nestle SA, to take over from us.
So, do you hear me? Leave it there. Do you hear me? Good morning, all. Thank you for coming. This is an important press conference, and I thank you all for your interest and your presence here today. Let me first introduce myself. I'm Paul Bulcke. I'm the CEO of Nestle Worldwide from Switzerland. And I have here with me on the table first Etienne Bennett, who is the Managing Director of Nestle here in India. I have here to my left Shivani Hegde, who is Managing Director of Nestle Sri Lanka, now only for a few months, but who has been responsible for Nestle, for Maggi Noodles here in India for more than 15 years. I would say she's the mother of the Maggi Noodle brand here in India. And we have on my right Sanjay Kahuria, Head of Corporate Affairs here in Nestle in India. Now, I have mentioned that this is an important press conference, and I want to speak here about the Nestle noodles, Maggi noodles here in India. They have been heavy in the press, and if I see you all here, I can understand that you have a keen interest. It has been heavy in the press in negative terms lately. I would say we felt at Nestle unfounded reasons, but it has led to confusion. And I would say something fundamental that is very close, and our first priority, trust of our consumers, has been shaken. And that's why I'm here. That's why I came also from Switzerland to observe and see, analyze the situation and take decisions. And you have seen already with yesterday the decisions that have been taken. We found that the trust of the consumers and the safety and quality of our products, which is our foremost priority, has been shaken here. Unfortunately, I must say, recent developments and growing concerns about the product has led to that confusion, and that has then given us this feeling that there was not the environment anymore to provide an atmosphere that has the trust of the consumers, and that's why we have decided to take the product out of the market temporarily. I must say, the products, the Maggi noodles in India, are safe for consumption. And that may sound very hard, it's very affirmative, and it is. And we base that Nestle applies, I must say, the same quality standards and the same procedures and safety and quality assurance methods everywhere in the world, the same. And that applies prominently also for the Maggi noodles here in India. But responding to the recent events and worries, we have extended with additional tests. Over 1,000 batches of Maggi noodles have been tested in the last days. And we have actually extended them even with complementary tests with third parties accredited labs and laboratoria. With 650 other batches have been tested. And all results that came out of this indicate that the Maggi noodles are safe for consumption and are well within the regulatory limits established here in India. And we have shared these results with authorities, and we have been also linked up online with the broader public on this issue. And now there was additionally an issue on the added MSG that is stated on the label. We do not add MSG in the Maggi noodles, but it is some ingredients like groundnut proteins, like also onion powder and wheat flour, have or contain glutamate in a natural way, and as such may be present in or are present in the product. But we do not add MSG to the product as stated. Now, that may lead to confusion, apparently has led to confusion, and that's why we also decided to take from now the mention of no added MSG from the label, not to have that confusion. So that's where we are. So first, the Maggi noodles in Nestle India are safe for consumption. The atmosphere and environment is not conducive. Trust has been shaken, and therefore is not conducive. We felt to have our product on the shelf, in spite of the product being safe. I said, product quality and safety for Nestle is paramount. It's the first priority. That translates in trust with consumers. That trust is shaken. And it is now our intention, and with the consumer in mind, that we're going to work and do everything in our what it takes, everything what it takes, to work also and to clarify with the authorities the situation, and to have the Maggi noodles back on the shelves as soon as possible. I think that's what we said yesterday in our statement. That is what I want to share with you. Looking at you, that's what we will do now. There's many things to do, and I feel the first priority is engage with all stakeholders to clarify what we feel and found in confusion. I'm now open for a few questions. You know, there's a few.
That's going to be a little difficult because so many people. Can you please write the questions? I can take one or two while the others write the questions.
Maybe I'm sure. Let's take one by one. I'm sure the questions are all more or less the same. So with a few questions, we're going to answer many of your questions. So please.
Hi, this is Preetika from the Wall Street Journal. I have two questions. One is, why has it taken Nestle 2 weeks to do a press conference? And the second is, are you all stopping production of the noodles? Could you give us a time frame of what is happening exactly? Has the production been stopped across all factories?
First question, why it took certain times? Because we have been in intensive discussions, and as you can imagine, with the authorities, to clarify, to show our arguments, and to show our tests that we have intensified. We have permanent tests that we can deliver straight on every time. As the doubts started to prevail or to fade in the market, we have been in intensive discussions with the local and the national authorities to say, look, we wait for firm results. We don't have actually notification of any results of any test done by third parties or by authorities. We don't have that. You can imagine we're not going to do press conferences if we don't have the data, or there's speculation, there's only media, and we have to learn from media apparent decisions. So you can understand that we privilege first the direct relationship before we go public. We felt that we got to a point that the consumer trust was shaken, and that we know now, and we have to establish that trust. That's our first priority. That's why we are sitting here. That's why we take the product out of the shelf, having the product safe, because we privilege that relationship, perceived relationship with the consumer. Now the other question. Look, we have all interest to clarify the situation as soon as possible with the government. I think there are rational arguments, we are rational people, and I'm very confident that we're going to be back as soon as possible. That's our prime objective now.
I'm Vandana from Newsec, and I have two questions.
Hi, I am Rakshit from AVP News.
Would Please stand up that people see who is. Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Paul, I have a question that lead has been found of tuned to 8 to 10 times of the permissible limit in Maggie. So where did that lead came from? Is it because of the packaging material that Maggie is packed in, or either it is because of water contamination, or what is the reason behind that? And now since, this is another question, now since UK have also said of testing Maggie noodles, so is it a global crisis for Nestle?
First of all, we didn't have in all our tests any test that came out with these results. So that's where we have them to share and see why. We also know there is methodologies. What do you test? It's clear if you test only one part of a product, like the spices per se, that you may get certain other results. Although, there again, we have way below the normal permitted limits. So there is confusion about how you test a product like that, and also results. But there you have to have notification of the results to be able to share that.
So are you questioning the test laboratories in India? Are you raising a question over the testing laboratories in India?
I don't understand your question, sorry.
Are you raising a question over the testing laboratories in India?
Oh no, whatsoever. Look, it is only when you pull them together and see and then trying to know why the difference maybe exists that you can get to conclusions. We don't have that in our hands now, but that's why we've got to work with the authorities as soon as possible.
And my another question was related to the tests that are being conducted in UK.
Sir, this is Balkrishna from Aaj the TV channel. My question is that you said that in your test that you have done independently, you found Maggie to be safe and no MSG and no lead. So are you going to approach court against the tests that done by in India, different labs? And the second question is, do you think that there is a design to malign the image of Nestle?
Can you repeat the question, please?
My question is that you said that in the test done independently by Nestle, you found Maggie to be safe and that there was no MSG or lead. So are you saying that all the tests done in India are wrong, and are you going to approach the Indian courts against those tests because Nestle has suffered huge losses because of those tests? And the second thing is, do you think there is a design to malign the image of Maggie? And which are the countries where you export Maggie made in India? Are you also going to take Maggie off the shelves in those countries also?
Okay. Let's just take this question and then we'll move.
You okay? I didn't hear this.
So, if I have understood your question right, what you're really saying is that are we challenging the testing methodology?
क्या आप इन टेस्ट को हिंदुस्तान के कोर्ट में चैलेंज करेंगे क्योंकि उन टेस्ट की वजह से आप कह रहे हैं कि हिंदुस्तान में जितने लैब के टेस्ट हुए हैं वो गलत हैं? अगर ऐसा है तो क्या आप उनको कोर्ट में चैलेंज करेंगे?
हम रेगुलेटर के साथ एंगेज कर रहे हैं और समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि उन्होंने जो टेस्ट किए हैं वो कैसे किए हैं, क्या मेथोडोलॉजी है। जो हमने 1000 बैचेस टेस्ट किए हैं उसमें लेड नहीं निकला। हम उनसे बात करके देख रहे हैं कि उन्होंने कौन से टेस्ट किए हैं और हमने कौन से टेस्ट किए हैं, ताकि एक क्लैरिफिकेशन मिल सके और इशू रिजॉल्व हो सके। हाँ, पब्लिक करेंगे। हमारे वेबसाइट के ऊपर अगर आप जाएंगे तो आपको रिपोर्ट दिख जाएंगी।
Okay, can we take the question there, please?
Excuse me, sir.
Vandana.
From your corporate rivals.
No, I would say
You have to let us.
we would not venture in speculation, although I'm sure one thing. All people involved, authorities I know, have one thing in mind: the safety of the consumer. And they do what they have to do, and they have taken decisions that we found, if we share our data, are unfounded per se. But I'm sure they do, and they take up their responsibility very, very seriously. I would be the last person here to start doubting or speaking about speculation. That's not how we operate. What we want to do is share with full transparency all our data that are, with the additional tests we've done, very extensive, and share that, share methodology, share etc. I think this is a result of unfortunate confusion that has spilled out and that we have to confront. And that's why we retake the product from the shelf, because there is not an environment, as you can imagine. You see just this room, all the people you are in here. This is something that is hot. We want to settle down, clarify the thing, the situation, clarify the divergence in results. We want to see the results on which the authorities have based certain decisions, and I repeat that they took with full responsibility, I'm sure of. For us now to sit together and clarify. We own it, the Indian consumer, to do that. We own it, the trust they have put in the Maggi noodles over more than 30 years. We own the consumer a clear response.
So my name is Abdi, I'm from Times Now. So you have been trying to justifying yourself by saying that Maggi is safe to consume. If you did know that the Indian labs have tested positive as far as the excess lead in Maggi is concerned, so why even now are you continuing to say that Maggi is safe to be consumed, where the Indian states have come out with reports which have categorically mentioned that it is not safe to be consumed, and that's why most of the states have also banned the sale and consumption of Maggi. And B, if you really feel that Maggi is safe to be consumed, why is Nestle trying to take this moral high ground by taking Maggi off the shelves in the country?
I repeat, we have affirmative, we are affirmative to say, with all the tests we have done, and they have been extremely extensive lately, all indications that we are way below the limits and the product is safe for consumption. And that is the base on which we say that we can state that our products are safe. There may, and apparently there are indications, we don't have that notified in our hands today, that the product is tested differently, maybe through different methods or readings that we want to share and clarify. We are applying quality assurance and safety measures and standards that we apply everywhere in the world, that we have applied for more than 100 years here in India to secure our first priority, safety and quality of our products. These results are conclusive for us. We want to share them with the authorities to clarify. I think this is a matter of clarification and sitting together and frame and create again this trust relationship. That's what we're up to. That is what we want to do.
My second question, why are you taking it off the shelf?
We take it off the shelf because we don't feel, if you see and you feel the environment, you feel the consumer distrust and confusion with all what I read. We say, and we have been very explicit saying, our product is safe. You have authorities that say, watch, we are not sure. We hear things, we do precautionary. We take it from the precautionary. We don't have to. Precaution we take from the shelf. That diversion of statements doesn't help. We are a company that lives on the trust of consumers. When that trust is temporarily shaken, it's only responsible for a company like ours to say, well, we take it from the shelf until we clarify. And that's what we have done. It is the trust of the consumer. It is the consumer in mind that has been prevalent in this decision. I think it's the right decision. And I hope it's going to be short-lived in the sense that we can clarify as soon as possible to have the beloved Maggi noodles back on the shelf.
This is Ashish. Sir, this is Layton from PT. I have been waiting to ask a question. Over here. First, can you just give us an idea about the total number of batches and the packets that you are withdrawing from the market? How many million packets would that be? Number one. And number two, can you please explain about the methodology of your test? Because I was just going through the certificate that you have put it out. So the certificate is that for 75 grams of Maggi that you have tested, so you have the certificates. So about the 1,000 odd packets that you have tested. So how do you extrapolate from that 75 grams to how many packets that just explain the methodology to us.
Hello. Yeah, regarding the number of packets or the volume, etc., this we will not say anything special for the moment because these are details. We have stock in the market. We have not also disclosed how long it will take to take the products off the shelves. Again, this will be a nationwide operation, and of course you can imagine with the distribution that we have in the different states, it will be heavy work. And again, we do that based on the consumer trust. We want this consumer trust, and we are taking this responsibly. So that's the decision we have taken. Now, further details will be communicated, but it's too early for the moment to talk about it. Thank you.
I am Supriya Srinath from ET now, right here.
Sorry, we have a second
question.
Second question which you asked, you basically asked the question about how many batches have you analyzed? That was the question?
I was trying to understand that the certificate that you put out on your website says that you have tested 75 grams of the product and then that's how you come to the result. So you have tested about 125 million.
Perfect. I got your question. The 75 gram which you read on the report actually is the pack size. It would be 70, not 75. And what we have done is we have done more than 1,000 batches, out of which 600 batches have been done by external accredited laboratories. What number you will see there, 12.5 crores, 125 million, that we have all the batches which have been analyzed till today, the number which you see on the site, translates to 12.5 crores packs in the market. No, we haven't done 12.5 crores packs.
Now we have, when we test quality control, what you do is sample from batches enough that is statistically relevant so that you have a full reading of the quality of the product.
My name is Supriya Srinath. I'm from ET Now. I have 3 questions and I'm going to point them right to you. The first is that your share has taken a huge knock in the last 3 trading sessions, and that's on account of the news flow that has happened. How are you going to justify this to minority shareholders? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is that Indian authorities seem to have indicated that they would want to inspect your factories at some stage. Are you open to that? And question number 3 is, have the Indian authorities who've tested your product shared their methodology with you at this stage?
The share is down, but for me, the trust of the consumer is much more important than that, because at the end of the day, the share is going to reflect that trust over time. So I feel you have to have your priorities. Our success is linked with how we relate to consumers, and that is based on trust. Secondly, authorities visiting our factories, they take up the responsibility. There are always visits and checks on our factories, and we are totally open to share our factories, in, specifically in this case. So no problem there. And the third question?
Has the Indian authority shared its testing methodology with you?
I said that we have been in discussion. There's no formal, I would say, sharing of the results of their tests with us. We know that there are some different testing, and I have mentioned one of them. And you take one ingredient, you may get other readings. That is not how these tests are done. Normally, not by us, because it is how you consume the product, and that is what counts. That is now exactly as we are in this situation now. I feel we come to a point where also the authorities, and that's why we have still quite a lot of work to do together with them, is to sit together and clarify. I think the next stage is clarifying as soon as possible, because I repeat, I don't think anybody involved in this is having anything else in mind than giving the consumer safe products. The only thing is that there's different methodologies, different readings maybe, that has induced certain actions, well-meant and well-intentioned, that are causing this turbulence and this confusion.
So this is Nantara from CNBC. If I could just ask you, you're the global CEO of Nestle. Hi, Nantara from CNBC. Hi, Nantara from CNBC. You're the global CEO. You've come at a time of crisis to India. If you give us an idea of the kind of ministers, the kind of people in the government that you might be engaging in. This is a new government that has talked about ease of doing business. How easy is it to do business in India post this fiasco?
We have been in India for more than 100 years. We are part of India. And with the government, we are talking to the authorities. We are talking to the relevant authorities, who are the food safety authorities. We may speak to ministers, but basically it is authorities that are managing and are governing the quality of products that we are engaged with, and that is the prime priority for us. Doing business in India is good, because there are the consumers. We have been for 100 years here. We have many products They are beloved and trusted brands, and I don't think there is any problem there.
You have mentioned words like anxiety. So what I'm trying to also get at is that Maggie accounts for 30% of your revenues here. While it might be your immediate priority to once again get the trust back of the consumers, the rest of your plans, are you going to go ahead with them? Are you rethinking anything at all about the country?
Look, I said, for Nestle, wherever Nestle is, our success also is linked with that trust relationship with consumers. The trust relationship with consumers on a specific product has been shaken, we feel, because of a confusion, not because of facts. The product is safe. This is important to us. India is important to Nestle. And that's why I am here, to see where are we and to take the right decisions. That's why also sitting here in front of you and talking. It is Nestle India has taken the decision to take the product from the shelf because of. I totally support that decision. And I can tell you, it is the first priority wherever in Nestle worldwide to do that.
Sir, so
one question from here.
Sir,
This is Ashutosh from A&I. The very small question is, sir, here. You said you are concerned about the consumers. You said you are
May I ask, that's a little bit difficult.
So very small question. You said you were concerned about the consumers. When the first state government in India, Uttar Pradesh, conducted a test and found a more level of MSG and issued a warning to recall the entire package, do you regret not doing so? As you claim that you were concerned about the consumers, wasn't that a warning for you?
So the test which I think you wanted to imply that the UP government. The MSG which they found, we do not add MSG as an additive in the product. What glutamic acid comes in the product is from the natural ingredients, and that is why we started writing no added MSG so that the consumer doesn't get confused. As Mr. Bulcke mentioned, now we realize that that is also creating confusion in the present circumstances. We are taking it off. There is no requirement to declare anything if the glutamic acid is coming from natural ingredients.
There's a question here, and excuse me, we also invited written questions, and I have a few of them here too. Let me give that now priority to honor the people who have followed the rules here. There was one that says, are you by doing this, they call it a knee-jerk reaction to the government. I'm sorry. What we do is only for the consumer in mind. What we do here is, and you can imagine, if you read the papers, what you write, with proofs or not, but is confusion. I don't feel this is the right environment to have a product on the shelf. That's the conclusion we have. We decide to take it off, to give us time also with the authorities to clarify this, I repeat. Until we have that clarification, we will not be there. I'm sure and confident that we're going to be back very soon. There's another question. We will come back to you afterwards. We come back to you. There are written questions, and I feel people have followed some rules. We have to privilege at least that question. So, Shivani, you have a question that you can answer.
So we have a question from Mr. Muller of the Telegraph. He'd like to know about where we produce Maggi noodles, how many factories we have, are they our own factories, where they are located and where we get our raw materials from. Maggi noodles are produced across the country. We have 5 different locations in which we produce Maggi. They are in Moga, Nanjangud, Taliwal, Beechalim and Pantnagar. At each of our factory locations, there are very stringent monitoring and quality checks that are done. There are hundreds of people who are committed to ensure that the products are safe and meet all our internal quality standards that are set.
Sir, can I ask you please one question which I think really goes to the heart of the matter? I'm from the Financial Times. My name is Amy Kasman. There's been a lot of talk about the permissible level of lead that has been found in the packets it's below the permissible level. And then there's the question of whether they tested it only as a percentage of the spice and whether they tested it only as a percentage of the entire packet. My question is this: how does any lead get in a packet of Maggi noodles? We are not food experts, you are. Could you please explain to us how any lead might be present in a package of the spice of Maggi noodles, and where this would originate from, and what steps you need to take as a company or any company needs to take to ensure that this isn't above the permissible limit? Thank you.
I understand your question. And I share the same worry. That's why we test on it. Because there is lead and spores of lead. Lead in general is omnipresent. It's omnipresent in vegetables, in the environment you live in. Spores of lead. And as we have products, and as we do tests, and actually the Maggi noodles are tested on something like 150 ingredients or spores, to see that they don't go beyond. And that's why the regulations have set a limit that they consider really safe for the human being. These limits are set, and actually if I see and share with you that we have in all these 1,600 and so many tests that we have done, that our limits of lead are something like an average 100 times under that limit, and go, because there's some variation, to something like 10 times lower than the limit, that is a limit that is already very safe. That is what gives me the confidence to say what I say. Your questions were global. Lead and society. Lead and society. But but the limits that I have said is a minimum. These are 2 levels of spores. And that is omnipresent, always be. There's
Marjorie Sen, CNN IDN. If you could tell us 2 things. One is, are you planning to withdraw the product from any other countries? We believe Nepal has already banned it. The UK is looking into it. The other question is, do you feel the perception is going to affect your other products in this country?
This is from confusion led specifically on Maggi noodles. That's why it is there on Maggi noodles, so I don't think this is a problem global. Secondly, we're not gonna take from the shelf in UK, etc., because our fundamental premise here is that we are very firm and confident in the quality of and safety of these products.
This is Shweta Rajpal Kohli from NDTV. I'd like you to elaborate on the fact that you've mentioned that this has been a knee-jerk reaction by the government. Would you like to elaborate? Is it a particular state government? Is it around? And you're calling it unfounded confusion. Could you elaborate further on these 2 terms? The fact that you're saying it was just a knee-jerk reaction, because on one hand, you insist that safety is priority for you, and that's your topmost concern. So in case these tests do prove to be correct, or would you like to question the basis on which the state governments have conducted their tests?
Well, I give that second part to you, but basically, again, unfounded. The word unfounded is that, considering the facts that we really believe is, and by far, allowing us to say the product is safe, all the worries we have, and again, I don't mention here, it is confusion that is unfounded on facts. But I can say that I don't believe there's anybody here that is inducing that confusion per se. There's something we have to clarify, linked to methodology, linked to definition, and that is why we say unfounded concerns that we have now around us. But it's a fact. Perception is reality. Those concerns are there for us to clarify it.
Sunny Sen from the Financial Express. So scientists say that it will take about a week to test these products. How come you came out with a test within 24 hours? Where is this laboratory? Where did you do this test? And what is the authenticity of these tests? Could you explain that to us, please?
Well, I don't think we came out in 24 hours. We have been testing whenever it started, and you know it has started 2 or 3 weeks ago, to have indices. Specifically, we started straight away, but normally we have all these products, all the batches we have tested before they leave our factory. We test upstream all the ingredients, we have all these tests. What we did was, considering and starting doubts about it, that we heard, we started to increase our tests to the levels I have mentioned. and that was not in 24 hours.
There's a quick question here from Reuters.
My question is this: will you challenge Indian testing methodology? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. Another question is this: how much, because of this controversy, how much damage or loss do you see to Nestle as a company or Maggie as a brand?
First of all, I don't doubt about the tests and the labos and the capacities of the labos. I think it is the protocol and how and what you test and what you read in them that we have to clarify.
This is Amit Pandey from IBN 7 News Channel. Sir.
तो सुना आपने नेस्ले के ग्लोबल सीईओ पॉल बुल्के, जिनकी तरफ से प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके ये साफ किया गया कि देखिए मैगी पूरी तरीके से सुरक्षित है, मैगी खाने से किसी तरीके का कोई नुकसान नहीं है, लेकिन क्योंकि लोगों का भरोसा हिल गया है, जिस तरीके का विवाद मैगी को लेकर खड़ा हुआ, इसीलिए नेस्ले ने फैसला किया है मैगी को बाजार से हटाने का। मैगी में एमएसजी मिलाते नहीं है हम, नो एडेड एमएसजी इसी वजह से पैकेट पर लिखते हैं क्योंकि हम एमएसजी नहीं मिला रहे हैं मैगी के पैकेट में। हाँ, जो हम इंग्रेडिएंट्स यूज कर रहे हैं जैसे अनियन पाउडर, वे प्रोटीन, उससे अगर इसमें एमएसजी आ जाता है तो वो बात हम स्वीकार करते हैं। लेड है नहीं, हमारी जांच में ये साफ हुआ है, ये कहा गया नेस्ले की तरफ से। आगे नेस्ले ने कहा है कि साजिश के बारे में कोई अनुमान फिलहाल हम नहीं लगा सकते हैं इस पूरे मामले पर। आज ही बीजेपी के सांसद किरीट सोमैया की तरफ से स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को चिट्ठी लिखकर कहा गया था कि कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कोई साजिश रची जा रही है नेस्ले मैगी को टारगेट करके। तो साजिश के एंगल के बारे में नेस्ले की तरफ से कहा गया हम कुछ नहीं कह सकते इस बारे में, और विश्वास है कि मैगी भारत के बाजार में वापस लौटेगी। सरकार की जांच के बारे में हमें जानकारी नहीं कि सरकार इस मामले में क्या जांच करवा रही है।